Do like our video and please subscribe to our channel. Wrestling Fox. As a fan of wrestling, it is always shocking to know when my favorite wrestler suddenly couldn't able to perform due to injury. But at the same time, it is heartbreaking when such injuries end the wrestler's career all of a sudden. Let us look at the matches and injuries that ended our star wrestlers' careers. In 2016, Paige first underwent neck surgery before returning back to the WWE ring in November 2017. During a 6-woman tag team match with Sasha Banks, Bayley, Mickie James vs. Paige, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, held on 27 December 2017. During the wrestling match, Paige suffered a neck injury after taking a kick from Sasha Banks. Paige didn't know the seriousness of the injury and she continued to wrestle and won the match for her fellow Absolution members. At this time she was just 25 years and this was her last in-ring match. On the post-WrestleMania episode of Raw, on 9 April 2018, it was announced that Paige officially retired from in-ring wrestling due to an injury.
Whose career-ending match was more shocking to you? Who do you think it is?
Do comment below the video. JORDEN is the first person in the WWE to hold the Raw, SmackDown, and NXT Tag Team Championships. The upcoming wrestler's last match was during Royal Rumble on January 28, 2018 for the Raw Tag Team Championship with Seth Rollins vs. Cesaro and Sheamus. It is believed that after this match he suffered a neck injury and couldn't able to perform on the February 5 episode of Raw with Seth Rollins for the Tag Team Championships. There was also another storyline created for JORDEN, where he is an illegitimate son of Kurt Angle, and during WrestleMania 34, JORDEN was supposed to win a match against Kurt Angle and make him retire. This storyline was revoked because of JORDEN's severe neck injury. Thought he had successful surgery and was out of action for a year. He is not cleared for in-ring wrestling. Later, he started to work as a producer in WWE. Jordan made his first television appearance in over 2 years on the May 29, 2020 episode of SmackDown, walking alongside police officers who were arresting Jeff Hardy. On June 1, 2015 WWE Dark Match on Raw, Tyson Kidd vs. Samoa Joe. During the wrestling match, Samoa Joe performed his muscle buster finishing maneuver on Tyson Kidd, which resulted in severe spinal cord injury. Though he was treated early and under treatment for several weeks. WWE made an announcement that Tyson Kidd will be out of action for over a year. Tyson Kidd once tweeted that only 5% of people survive his injury and that he had 16 staples, 4 screws, and a rod inserted in his neck. Most people who survive the injury end up quadriplegic, which is paralysis of all 4 limbs. The good thing is Tyson Kidd was lucky and he retired from in-ring wrestling in 2017. Though his professional wrestling career ends in WWE, he was hired as a full-time producer in WWE and is working in the alumni section of the WWE website. In 1997 WWE SummerSlam, a match between Owen Hart and Steve Austin for the Intercontinental Championship. During the match, Owen Hart botched a tombstone piledriver and dropped Austin on his head, which results in a broken neck and temporary paralysis for him. Although he managed to win the match, he was taken to the hospital immediately. Though he recovered from the injury, this had a great impact on his wrestling career. In fact, Austin was a technical wrestler, but after the neck injury, he changed his style to the brawler. His last match took place in WrestleMania 19, and he was defeated by The Rock. Then he was forced to retire in 2003 because his doctor advised him to stop wrestling. Otherwise it may lead to permanent paralysis or even death. During Bret Hart's times in WCW, his month-long feud with Goldberg resulted in defending his WCW World Heavyweight Championship at Starrcade in 1999. During the match, Bret Hart was struck with a thrust kick to the head by Goldberg, resulting in a severe concussion. Not knowing the seriousness of the injury, he continues to wrestle in the match, which results in another concussion. Hart later speculated that he may have suffered up to 3 additional concussions over the course of that day. Later it resulted in him with post-concussion syndrome and ultimately forced his retirement from professional wrestling. On October 26, 2000, at the age of 43 years, he announced his retirement from professional wrestling. Post-retirement he makes a sporadical presence till now in WWE, AEW and Impact Wrestling. Though we discuss a career-ending match here, for DROZ it leads to permanent disability on his body. On October 5, 1999, in WWE SmackDown, a match between D'Lo Brown and DROZ ends in a tragedy. During the match, DROZ wore a loose shirt, and when Brown attempted his signature running powerbomb, he was not able to gain a proper grip on DROZ. Due to this, DROZ was unable to execute a proper jump. As a result, DROZ landed on his head and fractured 2 vertebrae in his neck. Though he was immediately rushed to the hospital and underwent surgery, it still left him a quadriplegic, that is no movement below the neck. Since this match was pre-recorded, it was not broadcasted in WWE. At present, he has regained movement in his upper body and arms and roaming with the help of a customized, tank-like wheelchair. Though his career as an in-ring wrestler has ended, started a new career in WWE as a writer and columnist for website and magazine content. Brian Ong is a professional wrestler and was performing in All Pro Wrestling. For most wrestlers, severe injuries give one more opportunity to wrestle again or retire from professional wrestling and live with a new job. But for Brian Ong is totally different. On 28 May 2001, when he was having a training session in pro wrestling with the Great Khali, he had his first concussion, but the trainers gave him a lower evaluation and told him to continue training. Later, after receiving a flapjack wrestling move from the Great Khali, he got his second concussion, and it was a fatal one, where he was pronounced dead. Yes, it was shocking to all. After Ong's family brought a lawsuit against APW. The All Pro Wrestling has given $1.3 million to Brian Ong's family for loss and reckless behavior towards poor evaluation, and also for not giving protective gear during a training session.
Subscribe, commented, shared, liked.